Oh, we're back on the Sportsmax zone, turning our attention to cricket. The West Indies women suffered their second loss at the ICC World Cup, falling to Australia by 7 wickets at Wellington on Tuesday. Batting first, the Windies were dismissed for 131 with captain Stefani Taylor top scoring with 50 and wicketkeeper Shemaine Campbell adding 20. Player of the match Elise Perry was the pick of the Aussie bowlers with 3 for 22. The Windies could only grab 3 wickets as the Aussies easily chased the total, finishing on 132 for 3. The in-form Rachel Haynes blasted 83 to lead her side to a 7-wicket victory with 118 balls to spare. There was 1 wicket each for Hayley Matthews, Shamelia Connell and Chanel Henry. The West Indies women are now 5th in the table with 4 points, and they will need to win at least 2 of their remaining 3 matches, Georgia and Mariah, to get into the semis.
They will definitely need to win the remaining 3 matches, and they are aware of that. I have to say that I didn't predict West Indies to win against Australia, mainly because Australia has been unbeaten in this competition so far. Everything seems to be clicking for them, so we would have been very, very delusional to think that, you know, West Indies would have been able to go up against Australia and beat them. However, though, I am very disappointed in the manner in which we were defeated with the bat yesterday. You know, a bit poor, not what we're used to seeing, and I have to say though I'm very pleased to see Stefani Taylor coming to the party. I was waiting for this. She got 50 runs yesterday, so I'm happy to see her, you know, welcome back with the bat. Still, we didn't make enough runs. It's something that we'll have to correct in the rest of the matches. The ladies are fully aware of that, and I'm hoping that the next 3 matches, I think it's Bangladesh, Pakistan, England. England have been extremely poor. Is it England?
No, not England. They played England already and beat them.
There's a third, I want to... Yeah, well, the third match, they have to...
Based on the quality of opposition remaining, they should be able to get 2 wins. I would think they should be able to get 2 wins. Yeah.
No doubt.
It's Bangladesh, Pakistan, and South Africa. South Africa. Well, South Africa will be a very difficult match because they're second on the points table. But I would say if we can beat Bangladesh and we can beat Pakistan, then, you know, that should be just okay enough.
What I was disappointed about was the lack of, I've said this so many times, lack of gear change in the batting, because our skipper could welcome back to form for her, but her half century, she batted for what, 38 overs? So it's less than a run, well, clearly less than a run per over from her that she put together.
I think her 50 came off about 91 balls.
Yes,
and that's the point I'm making, right? So that can't do.
She didn't have a choice, though.
You need and that's the point I'm making too. So the situation didn't allow for her to attack at any point because nobody on the other end was holding that end. Again, if you look at what the opposition, I think the hardest part of the schedule for the West Indies is gone. Yeah, Mariah said she didn't bank on them beating Australia. Not many fans would have banked on them beating England or New Zealand in those 2 games. So I saw those 2 games, those 2 wins as big bonuses.
Yes.
And the fact is, Walsh's ladies have ensured that by virtue of what they did in the first 2 games, they effectively have their destiny in their own hands. And they've done the hard part. It's now looking at the other opposition and focusing on doing what's necessary. So I fully expect them to get to the knockout phase.
Agreed.
From here.
Can I just say how I was really thrilled to see at least the opening bowlers, the manner in which they started the match. They started as if they were out to win this match yesterday. You know, wickets were falling. Hayley Matthews, brilliant with those 3 catches that she took. So, you know, good stuff in the field as well. And when you see these kind of instances from the West Indies ladies, you get the sense that they're, you know, they're ready and they're roaring to go, and that's what you need. Their confidence is up. So I just hope that, you know, these little signs that we've been seeing in the previous matches, it translates versus Bangladesh, Pakistan, and South Africa. And as you said, George, I'm behind them too to win these remaining 3 matches. Yeah,
and you know, there were just small periods of the game yesterday, both batting and in fielding, more so in the fielding, that the West Indies girls were showing the potential or the quality they had. The Aussies are not an easy team. Elise Perry, who was player of the match, is a multi-talented player. She has represented Australia in World Cup football as well. So she's a multi-international performer. And physically, we have spoken so many times about the Australian conditioning physically, that these girls are real high-quality athletes. And, they're unbeaten up to this point. But it's the knockout phase that will determine who the champions are. So, one defeat when they can't afford to lose when the knockout could be it for the Aussies. But they have to be considered favourites to win. Yeah,
many times the Windies bowlers, they actually had the Australian batswomen very unsettled. A lot of dot balls for Australia. So, you know what? As much as it is a defeat, a lot of positive signs as we get ready to beat the next 3 teams.
Yeah, well, let's see what happens there. Now, sticking with cricket, the Windies men will clash with England in the second Apex Test for the Richards Botham Trophy. Starting Wednesday at Kensington Oval in Barbados, the series is currently locked at 0-0. After the first match in Antigua and Barbuda ended in a draw, the West Indies have named an unchanged squad for the second test, while England have suffered more blows to their pace attack. Mark Wood and Ollie Robinson are both reported ruled unfit, allowing a maiden test call-up for the Lancashire quick Sakeem Mahmood. And the English team having forced changes here, Mariah and George. Unclear at the moment if the West Indies will go in with the same 11 that played in Antigua.
Well, they did say they're going with an unchanged team.
Squad.
Yeah. I get the sense based on the press conference from Craig Brathwaite, a lot of questions surrounding Virasamy Perumal if he will get another game, mainly because he didn't pick up any wickets. I get the sense that Craig and company, they're still going to continue because spin seems to be part of their plans in Barbados. What's for sure is at Bridgetown, there are a lot in the wicket for the bowlers, so I'm expecting them to have an easier time because in Antigua, very, very difficult. So looking forward to see how this second test go.
The person that have picked Warwickon ahead of Perumal for the first test, but there's not daylight between the men to cause me to be unhappy that Perumal is here. Fact of the matter is, bowling didn't cost us the first game. Bowling didn't cause us to not be in a position to go for the win. So I'd be very surprised if they changed the 11. And if you're saying that, if people are going to say that Perumal, his place may be in jeopardy because he didn't take any wickets, what about the batsmen who didn't make any runs? Are they going to be dropped? So, so I'd go with the same 11 and give them the vote of confidence to go and get the job done this time. I expect Barbados, of course. Barbados is traditionally a much different, and let's phrase it, a better wicket than any of the grounds used in Antigua over the years in terms of getting a result in the test match. And so I definitely expect that the Barbados surface will give both teams the chance to really attack with the bowling and for the batsmen to have the ball coming on nicely on the bat where they should be able to play shots. On balance, a good contest between bat and ball is what I'm anticipating, unlike what we had in Antigua.
Yeah, a lot of questions surrounding whether Carlos Brathwaite's comments will have the West Indies men fired up, especially the comments about, whether they felt disrespected by England, if they'd have that sort of, that tone in the back of their mind, those words in the back of their mind to have them fired up, showing that they have something to prove, that they're better than what really took place in that first test.
Yeah, and before we go to the break, George and Mariah, it is unusual for selectors to make changes from just one test match. Usually when a test match is played, especially if there isn't a defeat, there is probably no likelihood of a change in the team. But, I think George will join me on this. Ruston Chase's decline in form in red ball cricket has been very disappointing for us. He hasn't had a half century in his last, I think, 10 or 11 test innings. His batting average is about 26. But it pains me to see Ruston Chase on the sideline watching West Indies play test cricket. I recognize that his form in recent series may not have qualified him to be a part of this setup, but there's hardly a player in the West Indies team displaying irresistible form. And I would just hope to see Ruston Chase get his act together and return to this red ball team.
So Lance is pained because Ruston Chase is not getting to play.
Well, for the 2,545th time on this program, Ruston Chase is my favorite cricketer.
So you're pained too?
I think he's the best spinner we have in the Caribbean. Yeah, and that tells its own story about the quality of spinners that we have.
I'm working between two pained men.
Yeah, so for his batting, the fall off in his batting though is alarming.
Which is why I'm saying that from a selection standpoint, he has to accept that.
And they had no choice but to drop him.
Yeah,
so we're not criticizing the decision to drop. We're criticizing him for the fall off. And Ruston, you need to wake up, my friend. Yeah. There's a game in this team.
Yeah, and I think the team needs a Ruston Chase in form.
Yeah, definitely top quality. So Yeah, well, we look forward to that second test starting tomorrow, Georgia and Lance. Any predictions before we go?
West Indies prediction. I'm just hoping for good cricket. I'll take what I get.
Yeah, that's generally how it is when you're watching the West Indies play, yeah.
It's like Man United, eh?
That's all I was thinking,
Yeah,
but I didn't want to give you another room to stand. I had enough of him today.
Yeah.
Do we
Break
go to
time.
break?
Back in a moment,
Break
yeah.
time.